said, I cannot really stress anything more stronger than all these writing process sounds very tedious, but this is what we all go through. Either you're a professional writer or beginner writer, it all starts with the brainstorming, then basically linking the idea, making a relationship, then we write the first draft, then we redraft, revise the draft, and we edit it until we are satisfied with what we wrote. So basically, when you actually make a habit out of this process, writing is not really stressful, because a lot of people get so much stress because they try to write perfect paper in one time. In reality, that never happened. Let's watch one more video.
For you, if every driver in the U.S. kept their car's tires properly inflated,
Sorry, that was advertising.
Welcome to the on-demand instruction presentation on the writing process. What we will cover here will be, what is the writing process? Why should you use the writing process? What are the steps to the writing process? What is the purpose of writing? And how can you use the writing process to solve your writing issues? So what is the writing process? The writing process is a series of steps that people use to complete their writing tasks. It could be used for anything from writing an email to writing an extensive research paper. Why should you use the writing process? The biggest reason to use the writing process is that it makes your writing a lot more organized. It can also save a lot of time and confusion. The better organized that you are, the more efficient and effective that you can be as a writer. And that's something that all students need. So what are the steps to the writing process? There are several different versions of the writing process. None are necessarily better. Some can be as short as 4 steps. Some can be as long as 8 to 10 steps. What you need to do is find what works for you and use that. What we will cover here today is the traditional 5-step writing process. The first step in the writing process is brainstorming. Brainstorming is a step that some people combine with the second step, planning. In the brainstorming step, a person simply writes down all the information they have on the writing topic. Research is also done at this point. Here's what a brainstorm might look like. Notice that we have the topic at the top of our page here. There are many foods teenagers can make at home. Then underneath we have a list of 20 different options. This is a brainstorm for a fairly short paper. Typically, for a 5-paragraph essay, students will want to list out 20 to 25 items in their brainstorm. Having fewer than that doesn't give you enough information to be able to write a whole paper. So make sure that you have enough information in your brainstorm. Some things that your brainstorm might include would be questions, facts, examples, quotations, and statistics. If you're researching your topic, you would include your research in your brainstorm list. The second step to the writing process is planning. In planning, you have a lot of variety and choice as to what to use. You might use an outline, a graphic organizer, a map or a web, a cluster, a Venn diagram, a color coding system, kinesthetic users like to use post-it notes or note cards because they can move them around. Here's how a graphic organizer might look. Here in this cluster, in the yellow in the middle, we see the topic, foods that teenagers can make. Around that, we see our subtopics, packaged foods, salads, soups, and canned foods. And then on the outside, we see details. Next to salads, you'll see Waldorf and fruit, which are two different examples of types of salads. Notice also that a color coding system has been used on this graphic organizer. This can help a visual learner to organize their information. Here's an example of a very simple outline with a color coding system. Notice that the topic is at the top of the page. Underneath of the topic, we have listed out the subtopics and the details. Then this person has added in a color coding system. For some people, that can be very useful in keeping themselves organized, which is the main point of using your plan. The third step in the writing process is called drafting, or rough drafting. In this step, a writer will write out the first version of a piece of writing, whether it is a paragraph, an essay, or a research paper. Although writers do not usually worry about correcting errors yet, the fewer errors that exist, the easier the editing will be. Here's one example of a rough draft example. You'll notice here that the student has written using complete sentences and complete paragraphs. The next step in the writing process is editing. In this step, a writer will correct all the errors in the writing. The writer should check for things like following directions, spelling, grammar, punctuation, clear wording, and does the writing make sense? In final drafting, which is the last step of the 5-step writing process, the writer will rewrite the paper so that it is perfect. The goal here is a perfect paper. Here's an example of what a final draft paper looks like.
Okay, I think basically we'll stop here. So basically my whole idea was to basically convey your message. Writing is not a one-step process. Writing is a series of actually brainstorming, linking the idea, making a relationship, writing an initial draft, then editing it, revising it until you have satisfied final products. Okay, we'll end here today, then we'll continue chapter 3 later on. Thank you.